What if I told you that something as simple and ordinary as salt could have a huge spiritual power? In the past, people used it not only to protect their food, but also to protect their souls. Ancient civilizations used salt against black magic, jinn, and bad energies. Islamic scholars and even our prophet shared very interesting and mysterious knowledge about it. Salt was a tool of healing, and together with vinegar, it protected the soul's spirituality. It started wars and ended wars. At some times, societies were controlled by salt. It was seen as more valuable than money, even used instead of money, and the wise people of ancient civilizations used it for thousands of years for its unseen powers. But in this century, it has been reduced only to food. The old knowledge stayed only in books. In this video, when you discover the unseen and divine secrets of salt, you will never look at it as just for food again. You are watching Religious Story TV. We continue our Islam-based series of mysterious metaphysical videos. Subscribe to the channel and like the video so you don't miss the next ones. If you are ready, let's begin. Today, in many parts of the world, Muslim families use salt together with Quran recitation to escape strange events in their homes, sudden arguments, sleepless nights, blocked sustenance, and unexplained anxiety. Here is a real story from Turkey. A woman named Fatima from Istanbul was having terrible nightmares. Every night, shadows, sleep paralysis, and fear took over her rest. After turning to a trusted Ruqya practitioner, she was advised to sprinkle salt mixed with water that had Quran recited over it at the entrances of her home. Within 3 nights, the nightmares stopped. Later, while planting flowers by her doorway, she found something strange buried just outside the threshold. An item used for sorcery, the name of which we cannot mention here. Someone had tried to harm her family. This was not superstition, it was real. And when Fatima acted with full trust in Allah, she was protected. Across the world, many Islamic scholars who deal with breaking spells also use salt. Of course, salt is not the only means. Chapters like Al-Falaq and An-Nas are recited, but salt is often used as a tool together with these. In Morocco, for centuries, especially when a family moves into a new home, salt has been used as a protective tool. Salt is placed in the corners to keep away harmful spirits and negative energy. This tradition, passed down through generations, is deeply rooted in the belief that salt has cleansing and protective qualities. Many Muslim families also place salt at their doorways. A door is not just wood or steel. It is the passage of your life, your family, and your soul. Often shaitans and negative influences try to enter from here first. Sorcery or the evil eye can also enter the home through people who walk in from the door. Now imagine this. Every time you or your children step through the front door, you are spiritually crossing a boundary that says, this house belongs to Allah. One of the simplest physical ways to express this is by placing a pinch of salt at the threshold, together with recitation. According to narrations, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when a person enters his house and mentions the name of Allah and also mentions Allah when eating, Shaitan says, you have no lodging here and no dinner. Sahih Muslim, Tirmidhi. It is also reported that whoever recites Ayat al-Kursi when entering their home, Shaitan will not enter it. In Islam, cleanliness is not only about wiping floors or washing hands. It is about purifying your soul, your heart, and your home from negative spiritual energy. Today, many Muslims use salt not for worship, but as a natural purifier for spiritual cleansing. Islam teaches us that purity is half of faith. But this purity is not only what we see. It also includes what is unseen, things we cannot always smell, touch or feel, but that affect our hearts, our homes and our lives. Have you ever entered a house that looked clean, but you felt a heavy atmosphere? Or noticed that arguments always happen in the same room? Maybe you suddenly faced health problems, anxiety or unexplained nightmares. This is where Islam teaches us that we must protect not only our bodies, but also our spiritual environments. And while we do not give holiness to objects like salt, science and history show us that salt is a purifier. Salt absorbs impurities. It has been used throughout history in healing wounds, protection, and ritual purification. Even in Islam, some narrations mention that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ recommended starting and ending meals with salt. Some scholars believe this carries both spiritual and medical wisdom. It is narrated from Ali radiallahu anhu. Rasulullah ﷺ said to me, "O Ali, when you eat, begin with salt and end with salt, because in salt there are cures for 70 illnesses. The first of them are leprosy, madness, vitiligo, tooth pain, throat pain, and stomach pain." As we see, these narrations are considered weak, but we must remember, weak hadiths that deal with virtues, stories, encouragement, and warnings can be acted upon, as long as they are not fabricated. The miraculous benefits of salt from a scientific perspective. The preservative quality of salt is a well-known fact in the scientific world. Salt binds to the water molecules in food, reducing the moisture necessary for microorganisms to grow. This makes it harder for bacteria, mold, and other spoilage-causing organisms to multiply. For this reason, salt has been used throughout history as a natural and effective preservative. In the home environment, some interesting effects of salt have also been observed, supported by limited studies. For example, natural crystal salts, such as Himalayan salt, can slightly reduce the humidity in the air. This may help keep the environment drier, which can be especially useful in damp areas by supporting moisture balance. Salt can also be used to repel certain insects. Sprinkling it on door thresholds or window edges can create a natural barrier against ants and similar pests. In addition, some claim that salt can help neutralize particles in the air, giving a fresher and cleaner feeling to a space. Products such as salt lamps are often promoted with claims that they absorb electromagnetic waves or balance energy. Beyond its biological and environmental effects, it is important not to forget the spiritual and traditional significance of salt. The recommendations of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ regarding salt may not yet be fully explained by modern science. However, as with many natural substances that were used historically as tools of healing or spirituality, future research may reveal deeper benefits of salt that remain hidden today. Now let us continue this journey and explore what these ancient truths about salt mean for our modern world. The power of salt in history. Throughout history, salt has held an extraordinary importance across civilizations, carrying not only material but also spiritual meaning. In ancient Egypt, salt was more than a preservative for food. It was considered sacred. In mummification, salt protected the body and was seen as purifying the soul. Egyptians associated salt with immortality, believing it could stop decay. Salt was also present in offerings to the gods and in sacred sacrifices. In Mesopotamia, the Sumerians and Assyrians used salt in rituals to break magic and repel evil spirits. For them, salt was a shield against negative energy and harmful beings. Among Central Asian shamanic tribes, salt was used to drive away spirits and cleanse spiritually. The Aztecs valued salt so highly that they used it not only for preservation, but as a form of currency. Controlling salt mines meant controlling wealth and power. In Anatolia, civilizations like the Hittites saw salt as sacred in both daily life and religious ceremonies. Salt trade routes often carried strategic importance, even leading to conflicts. Salt was so valuable that it was often compared to gold. Real salt wars broke out across history. In medieval Europe, salt taxes and monopolies became political weapons, with rulers in Rome, Venice, and Russia controlling salt prices to maintain power. In the Kingdom of Aksum, present-day Ethiopia, salt blocks called amole were used as money in trade. From east to west, from Africa to the Americas, salt has never been just about flavor. It preserved food, but also preserved lives, faith, and cultures. It became a spiritual shield, a currency, a weapon, and a sacred element. Salt in Sufism. On the deep path of Sufism, salt is not something ordinary. Once the doors of the dergahs, Sufi lodges, were open to everyone. Whoever entered did not only find bread and soup, they also found a breath to purify their heart, a prayer, or a sign. In these dergahs, salt held a special place. For many people it was just a spice, but in the language of the Sufis, salt carried a completely different meaning. In the Mevlevi dergahs, before the meal began, salt was always placed on the table, and often the meal would begin and end with salt. For them, salt did not just complete the taste of food, it also completed the taste of conversation, remembrance, and brotherhood. Some dergahs even had special sections called salt windows. For the Sufis, salt sometimes symbolized sincerity, ikhlas. The saying of Abdul Qadir Jilani, "The yeast of knowledge is the salt of sincerity," reminded them that without sincerity in the heart, nothing would have true flavor. Just as food without salt is tasteless, an action without sincerity is lifeless. In the tradition of the Ahi Brotherhood, salt also had a special role. When young men joined the path, they were given salty water to drink, and at that moment they were advised about patience, honesty, and proper manners. Through the symbol of salt, they were told, "You have now entered this path. Endure with patience, cleanse yourself from arrogance, and be as pure and clear as salt." They would say, just as salt preserves meat from rotting, a dervish living with a pure heart preserves people from spiritual corruption. That is why the cook who placed salt on the table in the Mevlevi lodge, the apprentice who drank salty water in the Ahi path, and the advice of Abdul Qadir Jilani about the salt of sincerity all lead to the same truth: to keep the heart pure, to cleanse the soul, and to walk with Allah. The divine balance in nature and salt. In the Quran, Allah explains profound truths that modern science continues to uncover. One of these is found in Surah Al-Furqan, verse 53. "And it is He who has released the two seas, one fresh and sweet, and the other salty and bitter, and He placed between them a barrier and an impassable boundary." This natural system is a sign of Allah's perfect design. The barrier between fresh and salty water is not just a physical reality. It is a reminder of the flawless balance Allah created in the world. What scientists are still striving to understand today was already pointed to in the Quran centuries ago. The salt of the seas is more than just a taste on our tongues. It is a sign of Allah's order on earth. When we look at the oceans, we do not just see water. Within them lies a delicate balance designed by Allah, and one of its most essential elements is salt. Salt is a hidden secret that sustains marine life. The balance of salt and water in the cells of fish and sea creatures depends on it. Without salt, the pressure of the water would cause their bodies either to swell or to collapse. Salt creates the equilibrium that allows life to continue in the oceans. It prevents the water from spoiling and keeps harmful microbes from spreading uncontrollably. This ensures a clean environment for millions of species. From tiny plankton to giant whales, every creature benefits from this balance. Estuaries, where fresh and salt water meet, serve as vital ecosystems. They are nurseries for young fish, natural filters for pollutants, and guardians of the ocean's stability. If the oceans did not have the proper level of salinity, coral reefs would collapse, sea plants could not survive, and fish migrations would be disrupted. An essential link in the chain of life on Earth would be broken. Oceans are also known for their ability to absorb pollutants, from plastic waste to harmful chemicals. The salt of the seas works together with marine life as a natural filter, breaking magic and protection from jinn with salt. Using salt for protection from jinn is seen as a debated practice in Islamic sources. There are different views and evaluations on this subject. Some Hudam, people who help break magic, deal with jinn and serve as a means of healing for those affected by them by Allah's permission, have shared the following method. Take some salt. The amount does not matter. It can be 100 grams, 200 grams, 300 grams, or 500 grams. Place the salt in front of you and recite these. 7 times Ayat al-Kursi, 7 times Surah al-Fatiha, 7 times Surah al-Kafirun, 7 times Surah al-Ikhlas, 7 times Surah al-Falaq, 7 times Surah al-Nas, 7 times Salawat, prayers upon the Prophet. After these, recite Surah al-Hashr. Just as the waters of Ayub's bath cleansed him physically and spiritually, salt represents tahara, purity, helping us reconnect with our purest form. In our fast-paced world, full of distractions and negativity, it is easy to feel spiritually heavy. Whether facing emotional struggles or spiritual battles, salt offers a method of cleansing that has been used for centuries. Next time you feel overwhelmed or spiritually burdened, try this salt purification method that Muslims across the world continue to use. After this recitation, the salt becomes blessed or read upon. This salt can then be used in food, salads, or soups. It can also be mixed with other salt to multiply it. According to the words of these Hudam, this blessed salt, by Allah's permission, can be a strong means of protection and healing from magic, possession, the evil eye, whispers, and obsessive thoughts. Salt is not only used to break magic, but also to keep jinn away from homes. Across the Muslim world, one of the most common uses of salt is to drive away jinn, the unseen spiritual beings mentioned in the Quran. In countries like Pakistan, Sudan, and Indonesia, families have passed down the tradition of placing salt in the corners of their homes to repel harmful jinn and spirits. This practice is rooted in the belief that salt has the power to neutralize negative energies and spiritual disturbances. Why salt? In Islamic spirituality, salt is believed to have a special place. It is thought to purify spaces, cleanse them of negative forces, and protect the people inside from harm. Many believe that placing salt in the 4 corners of a house creates a barrier of protection, preventing jinn and harmful spiritual beings from entering. This simple practice connects back to the teachings of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who introduced ruqya, spiritual healing, practices that involve reciting certain prayers and using natural materials like water, honey, and salt. Through hadith, salt became part of healing practices. When a person is affected by negative spiritual forces, using salt in ruqya rituals is believed to help remove the harm. A strong modern example of salt's role in spiritual protection came from a viral TikTok video in Indonesia. In it, a family used salt during a ruqya session. The video showed a person suffering from what seemed like jinn possession. As the ruqya continued, the jinn inside reacted visibly to the presence of salt. Viewers commented in shock at how the salt seemed to act like a protective shield, helping the person regain peace and calmness. The video gained quick attention because of its visible effect and was widely shared by those seeking spiritual healing. In this way, Allah warns us in Surah Al-Baqarah 2:102 about the destructive power of magic, which is often linked to jinn and evil forces. They followed what the devils used to recite during the reign of Suleiman. It was not Suleiman who disbelieved, but the devils disbelieved, teaching people magic and what was revealed to the two angels in Babylon, Harut and Marut. But the two angels would not teach anyone without saying, "We are only a trial, so do not disbelieve." Yet they learned from them what could separate a man from his wife. But they cannot harm anyone with it except by Allah's permission, and they learned what harmed them, not what benefited them, and they surely knew that whoever purchased this would have no share in the hereafter. Miserable indeed is what they sold themselves for, if only they knew. The main message from this verse is clear. Magic exists, but it cannot harm anyone except by Allah's permission. Those who turn to magic gain no benefit, only harm. In the hereafter, those who deal with magic will have no share of goodness. Within this context, salt is seen as part of a broader spiritual defense strategy, a means that can assist in resisting such harm.